Hello everybody, my name is Daniel McDonald and my presentation is on Alzheimer's, the underlying and upcoming issues. So to begin, I wanted to speak briefly on what Alzheimer's is and the reason that I chose this topic as my presentation. Essentially what Alzheimer's is a neurological disorder that progressively worsens over time. What it does is it attacks the brain by shrinking it and killing all the brain cells in the process, or a majority of them anyway. And that's what causes the loss of memory and difficulty of use of motor functions and other sorts. This disease mainly affects the elderly. 85 years and older is the primary target for this disease, and it is a rapidly growing and progressing disease not only throughout the US but throughout the world, which is why I believe that public health has the responsibility to bring more awareness to this topic and really try to crack down on anything that we can possibly do um, due to the situation that we're currently in. So its importance to public health, like I said, is just to create awareness amongst the public. I'm sure plenty of you know what Alzheimer's is, have heard of it, have maybe had a family member that's had Alzheimer's. Um, it's just really something that needs to be brought more awareness to, especially the fact that it's such a rapidly growing disease. By bringing more awareness, public health can create interventions to lessen the impact of Alzheimer's, which I'll get into later on in another slide. And just Alzheimer's growing this rapidly will cause major rifts in healthcare by consuming money and time of caregivers, doctors, hospitals, you name it. It's a really big and upcoming disease that will take major toll on us if awareness and stuff isn't done to, you know, intervene. As you can see by this chart here, or graph, you can see that it begins at the year of 2005 and ends in 2050. In 2005, it's about 25 million people being affected of Alzheimer's throughout the world. That's the prevalence in millions. And as you can see, by 2050, it more than doubles. It doubles 2 times over and gets all the way into the 100 millions. So, like I said, it's a rapidly growing disease. It's pretty prevalent. It's becoming more and more of an issue every single day, and you can see that it's about split 50-50 for the early onset cases of Alzheimer's and also the late onset cases of Alzheimer's. So it's something that people are being diagnosed with almost every day, or definitely every day, and it'll continue to be more and more if interventions are not made. Moving on, lessening the impact is what I mean by public health bringing intervention into this disease and kind of putting a halt to it as much as possible. More awareness equals more information and research. This is a pretty obvious assumption, as with more people being aware of the disease, the more information and surveys we'll be able to conduct with many people that may experience Alzheimer's for the first time, which really brings some important information to the table. For example, that's researching risk factors and seeing in these patients with early onset Alzheimer's and see how they live their lifestyles, what we could learn from that, and pretty much gain any information possible as to new preventions in the future. That also includes early detection and diagnosis, which will help with those researching of risk factors. And including this not only helps the public, but this also helps the doctors, because then they will be able to detect the Alzheimer's earlier. And also helps the caregivers, because we'll know exactly what the caregivers need in order to deal with Alzheimer's. As it is a rapidly growing disease, there will be a demand for more caregivers in the situation, whether that's in nursing homes and hospitals, or pretty much anywhere you could think of. But these caregivers, a lot of their time is consumed with Alzheimer's already. So imagine, the doubling in numbers uh, in the oncoming years. These caregivers will need as much help as they can receive. So more awareness will really help with any of these factors, and they all kind of feed into each other and help one another. So more awareness certainly equals more information and research. On to the next slide. Alzheimer's and epidemiology can go hand in hand as does every other disease. You could tell by the epidemiology that has already been researched, that I also researched. This disease primarily targets elderly people, those over 85 specifically, as well as those over 60 years old. It's very, very rare to see that in young adults or adults in general. Typically, you'll start seeing it, uh, like I said, over the age of 60, but those over the age of 85 are really where the number that goes very, very high, and you could definitely tell. Known preventions that have been, discovered by epidemiology. It's essentially just to live a healthy lifestyle. That kind of helps with almost every disease. That's how, little we know about this disease. Alzheimer's is really something that we still need to research and gather information on in order to put a big halt to it, other than the interventions that I uh, discussed previously. But living a healthy lifestyle, as far as we know, is what helps Alzheimer's in this case, such as no smoking, regular exercise, good dieting, uh, having a good active lifestyle, and just all the good and healthy choices you can make throughout your life. Other than that, we must continue to research and learn from everything. Uh, like I said, with public health coming into the picture and bringing more awareness to the public, it's really something that needs to be done sooner than later, because without it, then the numbers will just keep on rising until it's somewhat out of control, and then at that point we'll be scrambling for anything. So it's better to start earlier than later, and public health will definitely play a big part in Alzheimer's and the disease in its entirety, I'm sure. Here's another little chart here. Projected increase of Alzheimer's cases by 2025. This isn't even by 2050, as we saw in the chart previously. You can see that Nevada and Utah and states around us are mainly affected, with the 44% to 71% increase. Crazy numbers, and that's pretty much all around the country. There's no state that really stays the same. The smallest percentage increase is 14%, which is still very high. So, like I said, something needs to be done, and public health will indeed play a big part in this. These are my references. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.